Hey there, and welcome to Strengthen Sisterhood, a podcast where faith, friendship, and fierce encouragement come together.
We're here to share stories that will inspire and lift each other up while we grow in faith together.
No matter where you are, we're here to remind you that you are never alone. With God and a little sisterhood, we're stronger together.
So grab a cup of coffee and get ready to be encouraged and empowered.
Hello, and welcome to Strengthen Sisterhood. I'm your host, Amy.
And I'm Summer.
And we're really glad that you're here.
Mm-hmm.
Summer, this is our pilot episode. How long have we been talking about doing a podcast?
I don't know, a couple years?
It's been a while.
It has.
It's been a while. And then last fall, we kind of got the ball rolling because we were hanging out with your daughter. We took over to the Badlands with us. And after she spent an afternoon of hearing our banter back and forth, what'd she say?
You guys should start a podcast.
Huh. We thought, funny you should mention that.
Right?
So we actually got some equipment, and we got started, and then life happened.
Yes.
At least for me, life happened.
Yeah.
And, well, now here we are, 2025. Life's quiet down a little bit, and we're actually doing it. And Lord willing, this will be one of many episodes.
Right.
Let's get into some proper introductions here.
Okay.
Like I said, my name is Amy. I am in my 30s. 40 is hanging out just around the corner for me. But it'll come when it comes. I'm single, never been married, and I have no kids. And those have been struggles.
Sure.
Know, it's not always been an easy road doing with that, but that's okay. We'll probably discuss that a little bit as we get into these podcast episodes. But I have had the privilege of being a Sunday school teacher in our local church, and very thankful. Even have some good friendships that with those kids as they've grown up, we've maintained a good friendship. And so now it's crazy to think that now they're adults.
That just shows how old you are.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Always can count on you.
Here.
For those reminders of my age and that you're younger. Anyways, I work from home. I work full-time in customer service for health insurance. So it's been interesting. I've been at that job for quite a while and enjoy it. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this podcast and doing it with you. We've been friends for about 7 years now. We'll get into how we met and all that. But before we get there, how about you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, well, like I mentioned, I'm younger than Amy. I'm 36, which I should say I feel bad because...
Do you really feel bad, though?
I mean, not when I'm talking to you, but I do feel bad for other people who'll be listening to this who maybe are older than you. I don't mean anything bad. I just like to tease Amy. So I will be embracing each year that I get here on Earth. And so even though whenever I become 40, you're certainly welcome to tease me, but just remember you'll always still be older than me.
I'll be older.
You will.
With my old lady carpal tunnel.
With your old lady carpal tunnel. You can shake it out if you want to.
Okay.
I
probably will from time to
time. So like I said, my name is Summer. I'm 36 years old. I grew up in Texas. I joined the military before I even finished high school. My dad actually ended up signing a waiver for me to join and went to Germany. That was my first duty station. Met my husband. We've been married for 17 years. Had my daughter. She's 17 now. I have a 14-year-old son, and my youngest just turned 12 yesterday. We homeschool. That's my full-time job. It's what I do. I take care of the house, take care of the kids. Yeah.
How long have you been homeschooling?
This is our 6th year.
Okay. And prior to being full-time homeschooling and full-time running the show at home, what did you do prior to that?
I was a nurse.
Oh, that's right. You were a nurse.
I was a nurse. Yep.
Oh, during the COVID years, please.
Yeah, I was. I worked at, the local hospital and in a clinic. And then when COVID hit, I decided to work with the Department of Health in the COVID response team.
Yeah, all kinds of different experiences that came along with that experience, I'm sure.
Yeah, it was good, though. I learned a lot. about myself and just about how the state and the government operate when something like that happens.
Sure.
I think it's really interesting, all the different pieces that come together. So that was really interesting for me. But it was hard at the same time.
Sure.
There were a lot of things that were challenging. I was trying to homeschool while doing COVID response, working part-time at the clinic as well. So it was really a very busy season.
Yeah.
But that's all done now. I'm really thankful for that. I'm really enjoying being at home with my family and taking care of them.
Focusing on the kiddos and running the house and some different ministries.
Yes,
yeah. Our local church and just even through your home that you're working on.
Right.
So it's exciting. So one thing that I always enjoy, I mean, you can tease me about my age and my old lady carpal tunnel, but you redeem yourself when you tell the story of how we met. So how about you tell our listeners that?
Well, okay. First of all, I'm so excited that we met, and I'm so thankful. I started coming to church I went in 2015. I'd say is when I first visited the church. You guys were in a really small building. And my husband was fresh out of the military, didn't like crowded spaces. It was kind of a struggle.
Mm-hmm.
So we only went the one time. And then, man, I was looking for something in my life. There was something missing, but then I found you guys, you moved into a new building, and you had been doing ladies' Bible studies, I think on Tuesday nights or Thursday nights or something. And so I knew that if you were leading a Bible study, then you probably knew how to study your Bible. And so I wanted to learn that so bad. And so I approached you one day because I remember I was watching you. Church had just gotten done, and I was grabbing my stuff, and I saw you in the back talking to somebody. And I remember thinking, like, I want to be friends with her. Like, I need to know her. And I really think that was the Lord that put this friendship together. And I think he knew that I needed you. And so to help me in my Christian growth and to just in my walk with the Lord. So I approached you.
Yep.
And introduced myself to you. And right away just asked you if you'd teach me the Bible. And you were okay. Like, you said yes. That we switched numbers and got in contact with each other, and you met with me every Tuesday night for over a year.
Yeah.
Going through a discipleship book.
Yep. Yeah, so from my perspective, that was interesting. Just because, I mean, my goodness, how many people I've never had anybody come up and approach me like that and say, hey, will you teach me the Bible?
Sure.
Although it's something that I had prayed about for years, prayed for a long time. Because I've had people in my Christian life, I became a Christian, started following Christ as a teenager, and, several people invested in me. Maybe not necessarily one-on-one, like a discipleship system, but they definitely invested in me. And I remember just the immense amount of gratitude.
Oh, absolutely.
That you have, or that I have, for those people who took of their time.
Yes.
Out of their lives, out of their days, out of their weeks, to spend time with me and pray for me and care about me and just try to teach me different things. And so I was excited. I mean, It was like having a fish jumping your boat. Like, you want me to? She came and asked me if I would teach her. So I was very excited. So we set up, I think we started doing discipleship in March of 2019.
That sounds right.
And so we met every week. It was usually on Tuesdays. We would meet every week, and we would go through a discipleship booklet. We burned through that pretty quick. And you had all kinds of questions. And one thing, I had taught a ladies' Bible study, and I enjoyed doing that. I enjoy putting lessons together, and I feel inadequate when it comes to those things. I mean, I've been a Sunday school teacher, but teaching 4 and 5, 6-year-old kids is a lot different than teaching adults, although I still mess up my words and stuff like that. Only adults catch it.
That is, man, that moment that I think, I don't even know, was it my first?
It probably was your first.
My first time coming to your ladies' Bible study.
Yeah.
And I don't even know why you said it, but you were just like, why will we weak?
Why will we weak?
And I'll never let you live that down.
Ever. And I'm okay with that. I've learned to embrace it. So, and if you're listening to our podcast, buckle up, because I stumble over my words all the time. But we spent every week going through doing this discipleship.
There it is. There it is, right there. Oh, I love it.
We're probably not going to edit all those out either.
No, I don't think we should.
We have the technology to. It's 2025, but we're just real and authentic. And if someone had to go through it, sorry, listeners, but you're going to have to put up with it as well. But we met once a week, every week, even through COVID, even through social distancing.
Yes, yeah.
You know, we would meet in a parking lot.
Yes.
You sat in your car, I sat in mine.
Man.
And we did discipleship. And I mean, to me, that just showed your dedication.
I was hungry.
You were hungry.
I was so hungry.
Spiritually hungry.
That's what yeah. I mean, we did go eat.
Yes.
So,
I mean,
yeah.
food is a high priority in our friendship. I mean, if you can meet and gather together, why not include food?
Mm-hmm.
So yes, we would go and physically eat.
Right.
But we would also get together and feast spiritually.
And honestly, too, I mean, that's kind of something that I'm so incredibly grateful for. You have a full-time job. Mm-hmm. That didn't stop at COVID. Right. You got sent home to work from home during COVID. And so you would get off at the end of the day and then come meet with me and spend a couple of hours with me. Like, you were also dedicated. And so it took dedication on both of our parts and faithfulness on both of our parts to meet and do that together.
Well, I think that's part of the reason why we even wanted to start the podcast.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that we live in 2025. Everybody and their brother has a podcast now.
Literally.
Shout out to my brother's podcast. His Story Through Hymns. He does a podcast on the history and the people who created some of our beloved hymns, which thankfully we still sing.
Yeah.
In our church. But and he does a really good job with it. But we've talked about doing a podcast for a long time. And I think part of the reason why we wanted to do this podcast was because I feel like there's loneliness. A lot of people who may feel lonely. No matter if that's, you know, a single person who's in their 30s or 40s, never been married and doesn't have kids. They can maybe sometimes feel lonely, or sometimes you might be in a house full of people with your family. I think loneliness can be felt in marriages. Loneliness can be felt in friendships. Loneliness can even be felt in a sanctuary on a Sunday morning when you're singing and worshiping the Lord. And so we have benefited from the time that we spent together.
Yes.
During discipleship.
Yeah.
And found strength in our relationship. First of all, I'm thankful that our friendship was like the foundation of our friendship was set in that discipleship time.
Absolutely.
You know, I mean, you don't get me wrong, it wasn't all spiritual. Like, we went and we met at a diner.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I was just a babe in Christ, you know, so a lot of that old man was very much alive at that same time, going through a lot of different things. And so, I mean, the music at the diner.
Yeah. We met at a diner and they played those good old oldies, which I know most of them because my mama grew up just outside of Motown or around Motown. And so, I mean, how do you not move? How do you not sing some of those Motown songs?
They're catchy.
They are catchy. So, yeah, it was fun though. I'm thankful that we spent like I said, the foundation of our friendship was established during that discipleship time. And we've found strength.
Yes.
And we've relied upon each other in the duration of our friendship. You know, there's been times where I've been able to help you and be a help to you as you go through different things, transitioning from, when you were working in COVID, sometimes working out of town. And then also transitioning into now you're working at home, like you're full time at home and working with your kids and homeschooling. That's a big undertaking.
Yeah,
and
it is.
Huge props. I have huge props and respect for anybody who takes on homeschooling because that's a huge task. To me, it seems daunting. So,
yeah, it is. It absolutely, and especially with 2 teenagers in the house.
Right.
Those are new challenges and new struggles, you know? It's not the easy route. Right. That's for sure.
I mean, parenting seems like one thing, but then you add homeschooling on top of it, being in charge of their education.
Definitely tests a person's patience.
But some of your kids, you have a daughter that has already graduated and is just ready to tear up the world.
That's true.
As much as she can.
Yeah. Somebody needs to hold her back a little bit.
But no, that's encouraging. And so part of the reason why we wanted to start the podcast was to, because we see that there's an importance in having community and having a relationship, especially when that relationship is founded in the Lord. And having a relationship with the Lord.
Yes.
And it's been exciting. It was exciting for me to see you as you've grown from that first day when we exchanged numbers in the back of the church.
Yeah.
To where you are now. And I just hope that with this podcast, like I see a need.
Sure.
To hopefully we can be a strength and encouragement.
Yes.
To others, to anybody who might be listening to this. Hopefully they can feel, that's kind of one of the goals that I have, is to offer friendship and encouragement to any of our listeners.
Right. Yeah, I think that's good. I'm really excited for that, and that's my desire as well, is just through this, the same things, and glorify the Lord through it.
Right.
Just with our struggles that we've had in our personal lives, the victories that we've had, all of those things. You know, that's why we go through them, so that we can then go and help someone else, and someone else can gain something from something we've gone through.
Yep.
And so that's what I'm hopeful for.
I think that's part of the reasons why he allows, there's those verses of, take up that cross and follow after me. And we all have different crosses that we're called to bear, that he gives us to bear. And we may not always like them at the time,
right.
Or any time, actually.
Yeah, they're not fun.
But, I think we'll share some of the crosses that he's given us individually to bear, and it helps when you have somebody alongside.
Absolutely.
I think of when he sent his disciples out, he sent them out 2 by 2.
Right.
He didn't send them out individually. There's kind of that mindset of divide and conquer. And that can be a good thing. But you still need, I think of Proverbs 27:17. Iron sharpeneth iron, so man sharpeneth the countenance of his friend.
Right.
Or, I think it's in Colossians or Galatians. I don't know, it's one in the New Testament. But bear ye one another's burdens.
Yep.
And so fulfill the law of Christ.
Right.
So there's, when one is down, you have the other one to pick them up.
Right.
And so hopefully that's going to be one of the things that we can achieve and accomplish through this podcast, is to just be an encouragement to anybody who's listening. And because I think it's important. I think that it's a need.
Absolutely.
I think I hope that we can hopefully build a community where people feel like they can reach out to us. I mean, we are just two regular people.
Absolutely.
There ain't nothing special. Sorry. Right. I mean, I love you.
I mean, I love you too, but I get it what you're saying.
But we're just average people.
Yes.
There's nothing special about us. But we just want to build a community and hopefully be there if anybody who is listening to this, we're going to be available online through Instagram and stuff like that.
YouTube.
Yep.
You can reach out to us if you have any topics that you want us to discuss, or if you need prayer for anything.
Yeah. And we're going to discuss different things that we've talked about. We'll discuss our some of our individual struggles. We'll probably share our testimonies about how we even came to become believers.
Right.
I was raised in church, grew up going to a church. It wasn't the same type of church that we go to now.
Sure.
But Sunday morning has always been church morning. And I grew up in a home where mom and dad were both there.
Right.
But you grew up in a single parent home.
Yep.
And you didn't go to church every week as a kid.
No.
Probably didn't go to Sunday school or those types of things. And so we have different perspectives, but I think that the Lord will use them. And so we'll just talk about different struggles. We'll talk about different ideas or things that we even struggle with. And, or even, like you said, victories.
Yes, victories that we've had.
Yeah.
I think the Lord has shown us, too, There's a lot that I'm sure you've been shown over the last, how many years have you been in church, at our church? The Lord's had to have shown you so many things that you can use. I know you've told me a lot of them. And so I think that'll be good to share with other people. Yeah.
I think
And so I think that'll be good to share with other people. Yeah. And so I think that'll be good to share with other people.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to the podcast.
We'll have people on too, different guests. You talked before about we have a ton of people that we know that have
Yes.
been through really hard things, and everybody has a story to tell that can glorify the Lord. And so we're going to have different people on that'll share their story.
Yeah, we've talked about having different topics, even like we've talked about loneliness already today.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit touched on that. Just that's kind of like one of the basis, I think, of why we start the podcast is because this can get out, just
Right.
not even within our local community,
Mm-hmm.
but anybody. And so we've set up different things, social media accounts. You can find us on Instagram. Our email will be available. Because I think that there is loneliness. I think it's a companion that a lot of people are familiar with.
Oh yeah.
But we'll discuss other things too. We'll discuss, like we said, victories. We'll have people on. We know several people that have gone through a lot of low valleys, but have also reached mountaintops.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
seen the view from up there. And we'll talk about gratitude. We'll have a moments of gratitude, hopefully in each episode. So speaking of gratitude, is there anything that you are thankful for this week?
Well, I'm really thankful that we're able to do this today.
Yeah.
I feel like this has been something that's been talked about for a while, but even in getting started, it's been a process. Mm-hmm. And I get real excited and I'm ready to go. And that's why we make a good team, because you're like, well, let's pump the brakes a little bit. Summer, we've got to do this and we need to do that. And so I'm like, oh, come on. I'm ready to get started.
Yeah.
So I'm really thankful that we're finally here. And, I told you the other day, kind of wondered, like, is this what I'm supposed to be spending my time on? Is this what we need to be doing for you, Lord? And the Lord just brought to my mind, Joshua 1:9. And I realize now that I went and looked at the verse, it's a commandment. Mm-hmm. It talks about be strong and have a good courage. Be not afraid, neither be thou dismayed, for the Lord thy God is with thee whithersoever thou goest. And I see that the Lord is in this.
Yeah.
The two of us doing this together.
Yeah.
The Lord's here with us. And I think he's going to use it. So I'm thankful to have the opportunity, and especially to do this with you.
Right.
I mean, I know we met every Tuesday for over a year. And then there's been this break, right? This gap of time where it's like we haven't been able to do that because discipleship was a while ago. But man, I'm really looking forward to spending time with you, and I'm thankful.
This just gives us a reason.
It's a reason to get together. Yes.
Time together each week.
And the fellowship is so good. Yeah. Yes. So I'm really thankful. I'm thankful for what the Lord's doing in my life and in your life and us together. Yeah,
I'm thankful because I think that, going off of what you said, I think that we are kind of like that verse of iron sharpeneth iron. Mm-hmm. So you have those types of people, hopefully, in your life where when you walk away, you feel encouraged.
Right.
Or you feel a little bit filled up.
Yes.
There can be interactions that you have with people that kind of drain you, extroverts, introverts.
Yes.
And introverts, a lot of times with human interaction or social interactions, can feel drained.
Right.
But I'm thankful for those interactions where you walk away from an interaction. It's just like,
refreshing.
Yeah, that filled up my cup a little bit. Mm-hmm. And I think that's one of the goals that I have, or that's one of my hopes with this podcast, is that people will listen to it and be like, it was good.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
me too.
I'm also, one thing that I'm thankful for is a warm house, because it's been super cold here. We live in North Dakota. It's been super cold. So for my gratitude moment is a nice warm house to be in, with blankets and things like that.
Right. We're covered in them now.
Yes. Cozy.
It's a must at my house. You might need a parka, actually. I keep my house pretty cold, so.
But yeah, we're going to look for each week. I hope you guys will join us. We'll laugh, we'll cry. But all in all, we're just going to be us.
Yeah.
And we hope that you'll join us each week and reach out to us if you have any topics that you want to discuss, if you have any questions, if you have any prayer requests, you can feel free to reach out to us. Like I said, we're going to be on Instagram. I think it's Strengthen Sisterhood
Pod.
Is it Strengthen Sisterhood Pod?
Yep.
Even on Instagram?
Now you make me question. Yeah, it is. Strengthen Sisterhood Pod.
Okay. Strengthen Sisterhood Pod on Instagram. Strengthen Sisterhood Pod at gmail.com is the email. We're going to be on YouTube as well, Spotify, anywhere where you get your podcasts will be available. We're going to try at least.
Absolutely.
We don't know what we're doing.
We don't. We're rolling with it. It's going to be fun.
It's our rookie season. This is our pilot episode.
Yeah, so be full of grace.
But we're thankful that you've joined us, and we're looking forward to it. And
there's millions of podcasts out there, like we've said. So we're thankful that you came here to listen to us. So please subscribe, share with others that you think would be encouraged, and we look forward to you at our next episode.
See you later.
Bye.
See ya.